All right. I think we are live. I think we are live right now. Let me check to make sure. We had some trouble last week, so I'm going to make sure we're live real quick. Let's see it here. I should be able to find out here shortly, and y'all will be rolling in here. Let's see. Let's see. Maybe. Okay, here we go. Okay, got my story up. All right, sweet. We are officially live. Looks like we are good to go. So I am so excited to be doing a live stream here tonight. It's been a little bit. It's been a week. Thursdays, this is our day. This is our day to just go live, talk to each other as a community, and have some fun talking about fantasy football stuff. I mean, that is just nothing better than that. So I am so excited to be here with you guys talking about some fantasy football stuff. As you could tell from the title, we're going to be talking about Travis Kelce and the Chiefs. We're going to be talking about Shedeur Sanders getting arrested. We're going to be talking about Travis Hunter. We're going to be talking about this Panthers wide receiver competition. And a couple other players that I think are standing out right now as OTAs are wrapping up, and we're really about 80% through the offseason at this point. So we are really, really close to the season, and that means fantasy football season is just wrapping up, wrapping, growing momentum, and we are super pumped about that over here at the huddle. So let's get into it. Please excuse my raspy voice tonight. My voice has kind of been going out today, so just excuse that a little bit, but we're going to push through and we're still going to talk about all the stuff. So, like I said, we're going to be talking about Travis Kelce first. But before we do that, I just want to give a quick plug. In the description of this video and every live stream that is posted here on the Fantasy Football Huddle YouTube page, we have a link to the Instagram page. So go follow me on Instagram if you are not following me already. I'm sure a lot of you have come to this YouTube page from Instagram because that's where we kind of have grown ourselves from originally. But if you've never seen the Instagram page, go check it out. That's where a lot of the content is. That's where, a lot of good stuff that we're nailing down every single week, almost every single day, except for Sundays. And we're just having a good time over there. But then also on Patreon, there's also a link in the description of this video and this live stream to my Patreon page. That is where the bread and butter, that's where your money is made on Patreon. So I've got 3 different membership subscription based packages that you can select and pay for. And that's where all the exclusive content is. So if I'm posting stuff on Instagram, I'm posting stuff on Patreon that is on Instagram also, but also not on Instagram. So that's where you're going to get the exclusive stuff. If I'm posting rankings on Instagram, I'm posting even more rankings on Patreon for the Patreon subscribers. So don't miss out on that. That's where you're going to win your league and you're going to have more direct access to me, asking me questions, and I will be there for you to help you with any fantasy football stuff you have in that way. Also, just a really way to build community. There's a ton of people who love fantasy football just as much as you over there. So they're going to be able to help you out and just have a good time as well. We'll probably do some exclusive Patreon subscriber fantasy leagues, fun stuff like that, giveaways, all that good stuff over there. So make sure you are subscribed over there. Go check it out. You're going to love it. But anyways, we're going to hop on into the content for tonight. So we're going to be talking about Travis Kelce. So Andy Reid came out today and said that Travis Kelce, let's pull it up. Let's pull it up, actually. I want to pull up all the news. So you probably cannot see my screen right now, but we're going to get it here in a second. But let's see, we are not on the right date. Yes. Okay, here we go. So we've got even more news from when I was looking, but here we go. So I'm going to share my screen. Let's look right here. Yes, right here. Okay. My screen. You should be able to see me and the screen right now. So Travis Kelce. Andy Reid said that he expects Travis Kelce's snap count will be similar to what it was last year, but he will monitor Kelce's playing time as training camp and the season progresses and change the plan if necessary. So this is really, really good news for Travis Kelce's draft stock and potential fantasy value. And I think from this news, and from kind of the way that I've been feeling the last couple of weeks, we might be undervaluing Travis Kelce. I know he's old. Like, I know he almost retired. I know that there's not much like his better days of football are behind him. I'm well aware that his best days of football are behind him at this point in his career. But we can't ignore the fact that he's still arguably a number one target in an elite offense. I would say that probably does belong to Rashee Rice, and I think rightfully so. But we can't act like Travis Kelce can't compete for that number one target share spot, or at least be a very, very solid number two. Just because he's been in that position for so long. He's been the top target. He's been the top option. He's been the safety guy for Patrick Mahomes. Like, they've been doing it for so long. Like, why would they change it all now? You know what I mean? While he's there, he's going to be looked at by Patrick Mahomes. And I think we're kind of overlooking that a little bit just because of his age, because he kind of declined last year, and because he almost retired. But as you can see here, it says in 2024 regular season, Kelce was on the field for the third highest snap count, 939 snaps, and he ran the fourth most routes, 575 of his career. So this is good news for fantasy purposes. Andy Reid acknowledges that Kelce is getting older and that he is willing to be the bad guy in some cases by pulling Kelce off the field when he needs to. But while Kelce is a long shot to finish as the tight end overall, or the overall tight end one, he seemingly remains a safe bet to produce a top 12 positional finish. Monitoring his participation in training camp will give us more information. Now, I think that nails exactly the way we need to be looking at Travis Kelce. His tight end one overall days are probably gone. Just being real. His tight end one days are probably gone, but I think he's a very, very safe bet to be a top 12 guy. And I'm not ruling it out for him to be a top 6 guy anymore. I'm not ruling it out. I was a little bit down on him going into this offseason because of the retirement thing, because of the age thing, because of the decline last year. But right here, we see that he's still playing at a career high elite level. Like, he's still seeing top 5 numbers as of last year in terms of snap count and in terms of route percentages and routes being ran. So he's still playing at a very, very high level this late on into his career. And the Kansas City Chiefs just had a down year last year. And even then they made it to the sneaking Super Bowl and almost won. So they almost did the three-peat. So we can't ignore the fact that Travis Kelce is still one of those guys that we have to look at as a guy that can finish inside the top 6 tight ends. And the best thing about Travis Kelce is you don't have to pay that anymore. Used to be Travis Kelce was a absolute lock for the tight end one, and he was going in round 1, round 2 every single time. That's not the case anymore. Right now on Underdog Fantasy Drafts, Travis Kelce is the tight end 6 overall, which is I don't even know if we can call that his ceiling right now, but it's in a range where I feel good. I feel confident drafting Travis Kelce at tight end 6, and let alone 98.3 ADP. He's going almost in the 100 overall pick territory. Now, there are some guys that I would take over him that are going under him. Probably guys like David Njoku or Evan Ingram, maybe even Mark Andrews, but I don't know. I'm not so sure with the way that Isaiah Likely has been cooking things up in OTAs so far and just the way he looked last year. I'm not so sure about Mark Andrews over Travis Kelce, just because of the security there. But there's also guys that I would. There's also guys that I would not take over Travis Kelce that are going above Travis Kelce. Guys like T.J. Hawkinson and potentially Sam Laporta. I may not even take Sam Laporta over Travis Kelce because of the target competition in Detroit this year. So I just don't think we're hyping up Travis Kelce enough, and I think he's an extreme value right now. He's a guy that you can get as a last pick to fill out your starting lineup. You could start your draft with a wide receiver in round 1, a running back in round 2, grab one of those elite quarterbacks in rounds 3 and 4. Guys like Josh Allen, Jaden Daniels, Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts. Grab one of those guys in rounds 3 and 4, then kind of grab wide receivers and running backs for like those middle rounds, and then swing by in what is that? Let's do 98 divided by 12. Swing by in round 8 or 9 of your fantasy draft and grab Travis Kelce to round out your starting lineup. You have created a monster in your starting lineup that has an extreme value in Travis Kelce. So he's one of those guys that I think we need to start turning the volume up on, and we need to start drafting him. We need to start drafting him just about every chance we can get. Because, I mean, really, when you think about it, let's look at the guys just in that general position, ADP wise, that are going around him. You have guys like, let's see, you've got guys like Emeka Egbuka. I love Egbuka, but Travis Kelce gives you more day one impact and positional value in being a top tier fantasy tight end. I'm not going to take a guy like Michael Pittman when Travis Kelce is still on the board. I'm not going to take a guy like Kyler Murray when Travis Kelce's on the board. I'm not taking a guy like Jordan Mason when Travis Kelce's on the board. Jaden Higgins. I might take Bo Nix, but I'm not taking a guy like Jaylen Warren. I'm not taking a guy like Justin Fields, Keon Coleman. Like, these are all guys that Travis Kelce is going around right now. That's where the value's at. Like, you're getting a potential top 6 tight end, which is very hard to come by at the ADP that he's going at. Like, this guy is, I think he's for sure a lock at top 12, obviously, unless injuries happen. But he has the upside of top 6. He does. In my mind, I don't see him being in the top 3, but I don't rule out top 4 to 6 at all for Travis Kelce. So we do have a comment about it. He says tight end 4 plus, all of those guys are like 8th round and beyond. Yeah, once you get past a certain level with these tight ends, once you get past like George Kittle, you're looking at 7th, 8th round when you're getting these tight ends. And usually, if I don't get a guy like Brock Bowers, Trey McBride, or George Kittle, I'm usually kind of punting the position until around the Evan Ingram spot, which is 107, because I think he's such a good value right there. But even later than that, like, you can get a David Njoku at 129, which is ridiculous. But you can get a guy like Tucker Kraft, Dallas Goedert, Isaiah Likely, Hunter Henry. All those guys go way late. And so when I'm not getting one of those top 3 guys, I'm usually not taking a tight end until later. But Travis Kelce is not going that early. Like, he's not going really in those middle rounds. So if you get a guy like Travis Kelce in the 8th round of your fantasy draft, I think you've hit gold. I think you've hit absolute gold, and it would be silly for anyone to not at least consider Travis Kelce at that point in your draft if you don't have a tight end already on your fantasy squad. So that's where I stand with Travis Kelce right now. I'm loving the value. I'm loving this talk from Andy Reid, hyping him up a little bit, talking about how Kelce's going to see a similar snap count to what he saw last year. Things aren't really going to change. He's a reliable guy. He's a guy that's going to get underneath, and he's just kind of that drop-off guy that Patrick Mahomes has relied on his whole career. So I don't think things change when they're trying to bounce back from losing a Super Bowl. So that's where I stand with Travis Kelce. I think you all will be able to see through what I'm saying, and hopefully you agree with me. If not, put it down in the comments and let's talk about it. But anyways, we are going to move on to Shedeur Sanders. So Shedeur Sanders got arrested. I can't remember if it was over the weekend or not. It was very recent. He got arrested. Not ideal. Not ideal at all. Let's see if we can pull up the news. So reporter says that Shedeur Sanders Tuesday, so this was Tuesday, so way earlier than I thought it was, a citation for 101 miles per hour occurred hours after Sanders failed to appear in court for another speeding ticket issued less than 2 weeks prior. Guys, Travis Kelce, Shedeur Sanders is walking on thin ice with me. And how I'm looking at him. I already didn't really like Shedeur Sanders. I thought he was a good prospect. He has potential. He has a lot of things to work on, but I mean, so does a lot of rookies in general and a lot of players in general. But I do like his game overall. Like, I think he's a very solid prospect. I didn't like his personality personally, and I do think that is the reason why he didn't get drafted until he did. But even then, I didn't think that 5th round was fair for Shedeur Sanders. I thought he was a much, much better prospect than that. But the board falls the way it falls because of things that happen off the field as well. So we have to keep that in mind. And stuff like this is not going to help that stigma, that thing around you that says you're just not really giving us what we need as a leader. Like, you are the leader of a team. You are the leader of an organization as the quarterback. That's just what it is. That's what you're signing up for when you enter the league as a quarterback. You are a leader. You are a guy that is looked up to in the locker room. You are viewed as the captain of the team in a sense. And that's just what it is. And that's what led me to not really like Caleb Williams as a prospect as well. Caleb Williams has all the talent he could ever provide, you could ever want from a rookie quarterback or a quarterback going into the NFL. I did not think that he had the leadership skills, the personality development, and the personality skills to lead an NFL team like a quarterback has to do. We've seen it with Jayden Daniels. Jayden Daniels, I underestimated as a leader, and I underestimated as a locker room guy. And he is just that. And that is why that he was led to the success that he was, because not only was he a great player on the field, he was a great leader off the field and in the locker room as well. And so when you have cases like these, it affects on the field as well. And we saw it last year with a guy like Caleb Williams. While Caleb Williams was, kind of more loud pre-draft, and he kind of quieted down after the draft, kind of put his head down a little bit and wasn't really talking the kind of stuff that he was before the draft that I didn't like. That still doesn't mean that he wasn't that person. And so I think some of that led to his struggles last year, as well as not being on a very good organization in general. But um, we when we have things like this happen, it just doesn't help. It just plain doesn't help. It doesn't matter if he gets fined. It doesn't matter if he gets suspended. What matters to us fantasy people is on the field play, and stuff like this affects on the field play, and it will certainly affect. He was already walking on thin ice, as in like not even playing with the starters in OTAs, which I didn't think was justified in terms of his skill. I think he's a much better quarterback than what they were kind of allowing him to be in terms of playing with the starters and stuff like that. But that's their call, not mine. So, um, but anyways, this stuff doesn't help. It's not going to help him get on the field. It's not going to help him win the trust of the coaching staff. It's not going to help him win the trust of the organization. And it's definitely not going to help him win the trust of his team. So I don't like to see this from Shedeur Sanders. I do pray that he will be able to turn things around and hope that he will be able to uh, get his career off on a good foot. And I do think that he is still the best quarterback in this Browns locker room. And I will stand by that as a skill on a skill perspective strictly. But he needs to figure out what he's doing off the field as well. So that's where we stand on Sanders. I don't think this makes us like, oh my gosh, we can't draft Shedeur Sanders at all now, but it definitely doesn't help. So that's where we're at on Shedeur. Let's move on. Let's talk about Travis Hunter. This is a guy that I've been wanting to talk about for a while now. Travis Hunter, to me, is a guy that has top 12 potential in his rookie year. And you can call it crazy because there's Brian Thomas Jr. there. I don't care. I made a post about this not too long ago. Let's pull it up right now. Let's see. Let's stop sharing my screen here. Let's pull up my post from not too long ago about the rookie analysis of Travis Hunter. Let's pull it up. All right. So I'm going to share my screen here. We're going to break down what I said, talking about Travis Hunter. So you should be able to see my screen now. So I've got my post up, and I just don't think enough people are talking about how skilled of a receiver Travis Hunter is. I know that he's not, I think he's more talented as a corner than a receiver. I do believe that, and I've always believed that. Going into the draft, I evaluated him as a prospect and watched both him as a corner and a receiver, even though corner doesn't really matter for fantasy purposes. But I did evaluate him like a receiver and then like a corner. And I do think that the cornerback position comes very, very naturally to him. He just has great instincts. He's just a lockdown guy. He doesn't really have much to work on as a corner, honestly. But as a receiver, I think that people are underestimating him. I think he is like I think this is where they view his skill level positionally. So let's get this here. I think people view him as a corner, like right here, and then as a receiver, like right here. I think he's a cornerback right here and a receiver like right here. I think that's how good of a player he is both ways. He has just an insane amount of instinct, like just an abnormal amount of instinct. It reminds me of Justin Jefferson, the way that he just tracks the ball, the way that he just knows how to move his body, the way that he knows how to position himself to get the ball, no matter where you throw it. Like you just throw the ball to him. There you go. And people don't talk about enough that he was the number one receiver this year in quarterback rating when targeted. When he was targeted, he was the number one wide receiver in college football last year when to quarterback rating. So he produced the highest quarterback rating when he was getting targeted out of all the receivers in college football last year. That's higher than Teteroa McMillan. That's higher than Emeka Egbuka. That's higher than Luther Burden. That's higher than Matthew Golden. Higher than all those guys. That has to speak something as to the type of receiver he is. You just throw the ball to Travis Hunter's direction, and there's a high chance that he comes down with it. And he's producing good stuff when you are targeting Travis Hunter. So I don't think people are turning up the volume enough on this kid. I think he is a huge um, threat down the field. I think that he does have some route running refining to do, but it's nothing that he can't do because he's such an exceptional player. This is a Heisman. This is a guy who the game just comes naturally to him. This is a guy who covers elite level wide receivers on the defensive end. So he is going to be getting those reps in, and he's going to be able to kind of take those lessons that he's learning when covering the receivers and know what to do when he has to beat cornerbacks. Like, people don't talk about that enough either. He's playing these elite level receivers as a cornerback, and he knows how to cover them at an elite level. So this guy knows what to do to outbeat himself as a cornerback. So if he's playing at an elite level as a cornerback, take those receiver skills that he's going to be able to mentally defeat himself with as a corner and turn it into a wide receiver play that's going to be top of the league in the NFL. I have no doubt about it. Why else would Liam Cohen go out, trade the future away just to get this kid? Liam Cohen didn't go out and trade the future to get Travis Hunter to just stash him away. Hunter is going to be involved as a receiver from day one. And I think that the Brian Thomas Jr. narrative of, like, he can't possibly be a top end fantasy receiver because of Brian Thomas Jr., because Brian Thomas Jr. is there. I think that narrative is overblown. That narrative is just blown out of proportion. We've seen several wide receivers be absolutely fantasy relevant at the same time before. Take T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, for example. Those guys are top of the league receivers, and they produce it at a good fantasy level. Now, I'm not as big. I think Hunter is going to be a better fantasy receiver and a receiver in general than T. Higgins. And I think Hunter has the potential to be a better receiver NFL-wise and fantasy-wise than Brian Thomas Jr. Maybe not this year, maybe not next year, but I do think that Travis Hunter has the potential to be better than Brian Thomas Jr. as a receiver. I do. And I don't think that's far-fetched at all to say. And if you think it is, I think you should go back and watch the film. I think you should. Because when we talk about having a guy like Brian Thomas Jr. on the outside over here or in the slot or wherever they want to line him up, they're going to mix it up. And then you throw Travis Hunter on the other side. All it does is open the field up for Travis Hunter and for Brian Thomas Jr. That's why I love this combo. And I'm not afraid to draft Brian Thomas Jr. and I'm not afraid to draft Travis Hunter, because teams are going to have to worry about covering these two monsters on the defensive end. It's just going to be a nightmare. I'm just warning every defensive back in the NFL that has to play the Jacksonville Jaguars this year. Get ready, because it's going to be a nightmare to cover both of these guys at the same time. It's going to be awesome to see fantasy-wise. But like I said, we've seen multiple wide receivers be relevant in fantasy. You can even go back to like Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. I know Travis Kelce plays the tight end position, but he's still a top-end receiver. He was going in rounds 1 and 2 in fantasy drafts for probably 5 years, for crying out loud. Like, those guys were top-end fantasy receivers year in and year out. You've got guys like you had guys like Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp. Um, I don't know. There's probably a couple other that I'm missing, but you can see that it's not impossible to do. Okay. Now, top 12, both being top 12, that is probably hard to do. I'm not betting on it. I'm not saying that it's a lock to happen, but I'm not saying it can either because I'm very confident in this system that Liam Cohen is running. He produced Chris Godwin's return to elite production last year. He made Mike Evans just stay consistently being Mike Evans last year. Jalen McMillan, he had him flashing as a rookie. Like Liam Cohen knows how to put these systems together to let these wide receivers shine, these talented wide receivers shine. And so that's why I'm so excited to see Brian Thomas Jr. and Travis Hunter take off this year. So at the time of this post, his ADP was wide receiver 24. And I thought that ADP was a steal for a guy with top 12 upside. The talent is undeniable again. And if you don't think so, I highly encourage you go watch the film and come back and tell me what you saw because the talent is just there. It's there. And if you can land him, if you could land him as your wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3, wide receiver 4, like you've got a steal. You've got a steal. And I think he's going to absolutely break out. But like I said, at the time of the post almost a week ago, he was going as the wide receiver 24. That's not the case anymore. So we've had a ADP update over here on Underdog. I'm going to pull it up for you. Let's see here. So we've got Underdog fantasy rankings. He's going as the wide receiver 26 now. So it's not a huge dip, but he has been bumped down from his past ADP. He's going in round 4 on a wide receiver heavy platform. So, in your ESPN leagues, in your sleeper leagues where wide receiver might be valued a little bit less, and it's more balanced between wide receivers and running backs. This guy could be going in round 6, probably 5, 6, 7 is where he would go, I would say, in a league format like that. So that's an absolute steal. Like last year proved to us that when we look at fantasy players, we can no longer rule them out as a talent anymore. We did that with Malik Neighbors. We did that with Brock Bowers. We did that with Brian Thomas Jr. We did that with Ladd McConkey. We knew all of those guys were elite talents, but we ruled it out because of situation, because of unknown target competition, because of unknown just everything, like coaching staff, offensive system, a lot of stuff that was unknown. But sometimes, like we saw last year with all of those guys, we have to trust the talent. And with Travis Hunter, I'm telling you right now, we have to trust the talent and know that it will work out. It will work out because the talent is there. So that is where I stand with Travis Hunter. I am just so pumped to see this kid play football. I'm so pumped to see what Liam Cohen does with him this year in Jacksonville. I don't expect anything but great things from him this year. I don't expect him to fall. I don't expect him to play outside of top 20 receiver numbers. You heard that correct. Top 20 receiver locked in for Travis Hunter this year in fantasy. And I would not be surprised if he hits the top 12, but I would almost also consider him a locked-in pick for top 16 to 14 wide receiver as well this year. So go draft Travis Hunter with confidence this year and know that you are getting an absolute steal in 2025 in Travis Hunter. Go draft, do it now. Do it now. Do it now. Hit the button with confidence. So I want to move on. I want to talk about a couple of guys that stood out in in the news today in OTA. So I'm going to share my screen again with the news part. So let's see. Let's get to the news. Let's get to the news. Let's get to the news. Okay. So this is new news. I'm literally reading this as live as you are right now. So let's see. We have news on DK Metcalf. It says the Athletics' Mike DeFabo thinks the Steelers could call lots of quick slants to DK Metcalf to keep Aaron Rodgers upright more often and take advantage of his quick release. I like the sound of that. That means they want to get him in the slot, or they want to run quick slants with him more often, which is going to be absolute PPR gold for DK Metcalf, something that I have been wanting to see out of DK for so long, because he is one of those low volume, high, like long air yard receivers. You just chuck the ball down the field to him and he comes down with it. But he's a talented enough receiver to run those slants, to run that slot, be a big slot guy. So I love the sound of that, and that makes me kind of like the idea of drafting DK Metcalf at his wide receiver 2 price range. He's going as the wide receiver 25 right now. I like the sound of that. We can't overreact to every little piece of news, every little detail we get. But that is encouraging to hear for DK Metcalf. So let's see. Joe Mixon will be ready at some point during training camp. So sounds like he's still dealing with an ankle injury, a foot injury, and he has a little bit of a road to go down to get fully healed from that, which is fine. He's a vet. He doesn't need to be back right now, but hopefully he will be back early on in training camp. Get the off season jitters out, get the off season rust off, and get back into in season form, so that he doesn't deal with a slow start to 2025. But we're not here to cover Joe Mixon right now. We are here to look at. Let's see, where was it? We are here to cover this Panthers wide receiver competition. So it says here that a person relayed that head coach Dave Canals thinks the competition for the last couple spots on the depth chart will be very difficult. With Adam Thielen, Tetairoa McMillan, and Xavier Legette locks for the roster, 6th-rounder Jimmy Horn Jr., 2024 undrafted free agent Jalen Coker, and veteran Hunter Renfrow are among those in the mix to fill out the rest of the group. Horn could be the team's punt returner, while Coker, who posted 478 yards and 2 touchdowns as a rookie last season. Renfrow was a 2021 Pro Bowler but did not play last season. It is notable that Canals seemed to think the competition is fierce, and Carolina's depth chart is one to keep an eye on, given Thielen will be 35 years old soon. Wow. 35 years old is old for a receiver. What I really think about this, I don't think much changes. Like he said already, Thielen is a lock for the slot guy. Tetairoa McMillan is your exterior receiver, your alpha receiver, and then Legette plays on the outside opposite of McMillan, kind of that long ball guy. And then, you have Jimmy Horn Jr. He has been an OTA standout, I will know. But it looks like he's going to be more of a special teams guy for now. Not saying by the end of the season, where 35-year-old Adam Thielen could be slowing down, they plug Jimmy Horn into the slot role and he excels. I think that's a great trajectory for him, and one that I could easily see playing out in 2025. But you also have Coker coming as well. You're just going to have to wait and see. These are guys that I'm in redraft formats. These are guys that I am drafting in best ball formats. Now, um, yeah, if there's one receiver that I love to draft out of this group, it's Adam Thielen. I think he's a really great value near the end of your draft. He's a reliable guy, slot guy. I know he's really old, but he's just a in my mind, he's the best value. I think Tete Roa McMillan um, slightly overdrafted in my opinion, but fair value. But definitely not a guy that I think I'm getting for a steal. So a guy like Adam Thielen is one that I have my eye on right now. But if you're looking for deeper than that, I'm probably just going with Horn because I think he is out of the deep guys the best one. So that's where I stand on this Panthers wide receiver room. It's early, y'all. It's still June. Um, OTAs are wrapping up, but training camp is still not even here yet. So we need to see more in training camp. We need to see more in preseason before we make any type of decision on that stuff. So I'm not digging my heels in too far on anything right now in terms of that. So let's look a little bit more, some more news. Let's see. I did want to talk about where's he at? This kid named Efton Chisholm. It says that one of the beat reporters is saying that no player did more impressive to improve his standing on the Patriots depth chart than Efton Chisholm this spring. So this kid has been getting a lot of hype recently. He went undrafted. He was an undrafted free agent pickup for the Patriots, and Mike Vrabel is praising him as a really talented player who has just really studied his football and studied the playbook and is doing really well. Um, New England's depth chart is pretty deep. Um, and we don't even know if he's going to make the roster, but he is someone to monitor. So you've got already there, you got Diggs, you've got Kyle Williams, you got Demario Douglas. There's a couple other guys there that I'm not thinking of right now off the top of my head, but this is a guy that I'm not like, we've got to get in or we've got to draft every share that we could possibly get of this kid. But he's a guy that I am keeping an eye on. I'm just monitoring. Let's see how training camp goes. Let's see how preseason goes. And let's keep an eye out for him. I do want to move on to Devontae Walker. This is a guy that I liked coming out of college last year. Did think he had some stuff to work on in his game, but he is one guy that could really break out and come out of nowhere as an alpha receiver for the Baltimore Ravens that they've been missing for a long time. I think a lot of people would be surprised if they heard the news that this kid is getting a lot of praise. And I just don't think that Zay Flowers is a lock for wide receiver one. In my mind, Flowers has always been a really good, solid two, but he's not an alpha type of guy. He's just not that receiver. And I think Devontae Walker has that potential. He needs to work a lot more, and we need to monitor him as the offseason continues. But I think that he has a ton of potential. And I think he has room for growth in this role. Right now, he is kind of behind Zay Flowers, for sure, behind Zay Flowers. He's kind of behind Rashad Bateman, and then D-Hop is there as well. But there's a possibility that, come training camp, come preseason, Devontae Walker starts to get more hype, and he starts to become a guy that we are really looking at the end of our drafts to become a breakout type of guy. And I think that he could absolutely do that this season. So keep an eye out on Devontae Walker, not someone that we're overdrafting right now, but a guy that we definitely want to keep our eyes on as we're going into the season. So let's go back. Let's go down here. We do have news on Harold Fannin Jr. The Athletics' Zach Jackson believes that Harold Fannin Jr. is considered more of a long-term project than an immediate contributor. So not a huge surprise with David Njoku on the depth chart ahead of him, but Fannin has had an impressive start in minicamp, and Fannin has left other Browns beats asking if he ever drops a football. We maintain low hopes for a huge splash year for Fannin in his rookie season, but he sure has an interesting dynasty profile right now, which I would agree with. I am totally on board for what this just said. I've agreed with this from day one. Didn't like the landing spot for Harold Fannin Jr., but he does have an intriguing dynasty profile, excuse me. And he's a guy that I'm not even considering as a redraft option this year unless David Njoku gets hurt. That's the only way. But I loved Harold Fannin Jr. as a prospect. Thought he was a really, really good receiving tight end prospect. Somebody that I think down the road when maybe Njoku isn't there or something like that, he's a guy that can beat man coverage. He's a guy that is obviously good against the zone. He just has a lot of upside as a fantasy tight end, and I'm very, very excited to see where he goes in the future. But right now, he is not an option fantasy-wise in redraft formats. So let's move on to our last topic here tonight, which is J.J. McCarthy. We haven't really talked a lot about J.J. McCarthy on the page this year, but he is someone that I am definitely keeping my eye on. He was a prospect that I wasn't in love with coming out of college. I did not think he was anywhere near the top 3 prospects. I didn't think he was I did like guys like Penix over him, Bo Nix over him. So he wasn't a guy that I was absolutely in love with coming out of college. But so far, what he's displayed, and so far after analyzing, he is we have to realize that he is in a Kevin O'Connell system. He is surrounded by a load full of talent in Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, Aaron Jones, Jordan Mason, TJ Hawkinson. Like, this guy has talent swimming around him, and he has the right coaching staff to put it all together. So I really, really like J.J. McCarthy, the potential that is there. And I'm going to remove all emotion, all of the prospect analysis that I did on him going into the draft last year. And I'm going to say that he's a guy that I'm drafting definitely as my QB2. But if I've gotten to like the end of my draft and I haven't gotten a QB, I'm considering J.J. McCarthy if he's there. So he is a guy that I really love. Potential-wise, I want to be clear potential-wise because I still am a little bit cautious of the prospect that he was. But, yeah, I think we have the green light because he's not being overvalued. You're getting him at the end of your draft. You can draft a guy like Mahomes. You can draft a guy like Bo Nix. You can draft a guy like Kyler Murray. You can draft a guy like Drake May, Justin Fields, and then grab J.J. McCarthy at the end of your draft as your second quarterback, and you're going to be just fine. So we have the green light to draft J.J. McCarthy. Do it with confidence in 2025 unless things change, unless he starts going up, in the middle of the draft. That's when we're going to have to pause the brakes or pause the brakes, something like that, on J.J. McCarthy. But right now, draft him with confidence. Go do it, and go do it right now. But that covers all the news we're going to do for tonight. And we're going to kind of do a little bit of a shorter stream tonight because my voice is kind of feeling it already. And it's getting a little bit late. So let's do a mock draft real quick. Let's do a draft. I still want to get into some underdog drafts with you all here soon. and just do some underdog drafts here quick. But I am going to do a Fantasy Pros one tonight and kind of break down. I had a good time doing that the other day. So let's do that. Let me pull it up real quick. Let's do a Fantasy Pros mock draft. And I can't remember where we drafted from. Last time. I think we drafted near the end, like a 10, 11, 12 position. So let's do in the beginning this time. So we're going to do, I think you all can share, you all should be able to see my screen. So we're going to do, obviously, 2025 season, PPR, snake, number of team 12s. Oh, let's just randomize it. That's what we did. Yeah, let's just randomize it. We're going to do one quarterback, one running back, two wide receivers, one tight end. Let's do two flex, my bad, two flex thing here. And yeah, we're going to randomize our draft position. 3, 2, 1. Here we go. And we've got the 4th spot. So we are going to be drafting from pick number 4. Let's do it. Okay. So, and y'all, if you are watching, please do not hesitate to be active in the comments. Tell me what you think I should do, all of that. But let's go to the draft board. Okay. So right now, Jamar Chase is off the board as expected. Bijan off the board as expected. Justin Jefferson is off the board here at pick 4. The guys that are available to us are CeeDee Lamb, Puka Nacua, Jahmyr Gibbs, Malik Neighbors, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Saquon, Nico, Brian Thomas Jr. We've got plenty of guys at our disposal here. Now, this is a big debate that I've had with the fantasy community, with myself, with my followers. Where do we, because in my mind, Bijan is the clear running back 1. And I am not really looking to draft a guy like Jahmyr Gibbs at pick number 4. I'm not drafting a guy like Saquon Barkley at pick number 4. I think it's too risky this year, and I have posts on that. I've talked about it on stream before. To me, it's just a little too risky to take a guy like that right here. I want to go with a receiver who provides a lot of upside and still the same amount of safety. So in my mind, the wide receiver 3 for me is Malik Neighbors. And I've gone into that a little bit as to why I believe that. And it goes back to if you even want to call the quarterback situation that he dealt with last year a quarterback situation, by all means do that. It was a poor excuse of a quarterback room last year for Malik Neighbors, yet he had a 100 catch season. He was one of the top in the league in yards per route run. He was the wide receiver 6 overall in fantasy. The guy had all the odds. He was a rookie with horrible QBs. The guy had all of the odds stacked against him, and yet he finished the way he did. And a guy like CeeDee Lamb, who is proven, who has been the wide receiver 1 overall before, he played with Dak for half the season and didn't really do all that crazy stuff. And I'm not saying that CeeDee Lamb is a bad pick here whatsoever. He is a guy that I'm strongly considering here. But in my mind, I do believe that Malik Neighbors is the wide receiver 3 this year in fantasy. So I'm going to go Malik Neighbors right here, and we're going to see who comes back to us. Obviously, a lot of guys that are really good coming here off the board. So, okay. So we see a lot of the tier 1 running backs come off the board here. We see a lot of the tier 1 and tier 2 wide receivers coming off the board here. Wow. That's a big jump in ADP for Rashee Rice. Holy smokes. Last time we did this draft, he fell to like pick number 3 or 4 at the end of round 3 or 4. So he has had a huge ADP jump since the last time we were drafting. So, in my mind, I'm going with Bucky Irving right here. I just cannot say enough about this kid. In my mind, we've got Bijan, and then I think Christian McCaffrey goes too early here as the RB2. But in my mind, it goes Bijan, and then it goes. I'm gonna go. Jahmyr Gibbs as my RB2. And then I'm gonna go Saquon, then Bucky Irving, then Christian McCaffrey. So y'all know, or yeah, some sort of order like that. I am going to be posting rankings here again soon, so make sure you stay tuned for that. We'll have all that finalized right now. My rankings change all the time, which is a healthy thing to do. Be honest with yourself. So let's see. I'm going Bucky Irving here to pair with Malik Neighbors. I think that's a fire round 1 and round 2 combo. So I'm going Bucky Irving right here. Yes, even with Derrick Henry on the board. I was hoping that Garrett Wilson would fall to us here, but he did not. So, man, Josh Jacobs in round 3 is a pretty good value in my opinion. It's a pretty good value in my opinion. But that's so tough because we can get Josh Allen, we can get Lamar Jackson, we can get Jaden Daniels right here. And I love that. I love that for our team. But do I love it more than getting Josh Jacobs in the 3rd? Ooh, man, that's so tough. That is so tough. I want to see what maybe y'all are saying in the comments. I don't see any new comments here. Oh, man, it's so tough. I think I do remember getting like there's some pretty good quarterback values later on in the draft. So it's so tough. It's so tough. You know what? I am going to go. I'm going to go with Josh Jacobs here, and let's see what we can get quarterback-wise later on in the draft. Man, that's tough. I really would have liked to taken oh, okay. Okay. So this is where we're at. So I'm glad I didn't go Josh Allen because we've got Jalen Hurts sitting right here in round 4, and I love that. I don't think I can pass that up with the people that are here on the board. So yeah, I'm gonna go Jalen Hurts round 4. I think that's incredible value. I was hoping we would either get Cortland Sutton, Marvin Harrison, or Chuba Hubbard here in round 5, but it's all right. It's all right. We can work with what we've got here. So let's see. I like DK Metcalf here. I don't think that's a bad pick. I don't think that's a bad pick whatsoever. But I also like Jerry Jeudy here. I think he's a sneaky guy. He's a sneaky guy here in round number 5. Oh, man. This is so tough. This is so tough. Yeah, I think I'm going to go Jeudy over. Man, that is really tough. Yeah, I'm going to go Jeudy. I'm going to go Jeudy here as my wide receiver 2. Lock it down. Let's see who comes back to us. So Travis Kelce's off the board. I was looking. That's really weird. Why would they draft Sam Laporta and Travis Kelce? This is why Underdog is the best place to draft because you're going to have stuff like this happen on these random simulator platforms where you've got guys like Sam Laporta and Travis Kelce getting drafted to the same team. But anyways, I do see our boy Travis Hunter here holding it down for us in round number 6. We are definitely going to take advantage of that. And then we've also got our boy RJ Harvey and Travion Henderson sitting here in round 7. Guys, I'm taking RJ Harvey with absolute confidence. Like, I don't even have to question that. Like, that is such an easy pick. Don't tell me. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Y'all. Y'all, this is insane. Travion Henderson just fell back to us. Travion Henderson just fell back to us. We already have 3 RBs, but I just can't pass up on the value here. I cannot pass up on the value here. And then so we are looking really good at running back. Like, we do not need to touch running back for a while. We can definitely address some other positions. So I do like the look. Let's see. Mark Andrews is here in round 9. I like that. And he's kind of at that tier break. So yeah, let's grab Mark Andrews here in round 9. I love that for our team. Yeah, this team is looking so good. This team is looking really, really good. Values everywhere. Yeah, there are a ton of values quarterback-wise here on Fantasy Pros. But anyways, we need a little bit more receiver help. But oh my goodness, another guy can't leave on the board, Jordan Mason. I cannot leave him on the board. But yeah, we need to filter. We need to filter wide receiver because I'm gonna just keep grabbing other positions. Yeah, I'm gonna grab Emeka Egbuka right here. He's a guy. Y'all know I love Emeka Egbuka. Not passing up on him right there. He's a guy I trust to carry my fantasy team. Another guy that I trust, who's getting a lot of good stuff in OTA said about him, is Demario Douglas out of the slot in New England. I think that could be a really, really good, breakout guy this year. And then also, we could draft Kyle Williams, but we need to kind of diversify our picks here. Man, this is tough. It's getting thin. It's getting thin here at wide receiver. I'm going to go Trey Harris. I'm going to go Trey Harris here. Yeah, I like Trey Harris there. Okay, let's see. Who do we've got? Let's see who's there. All we've got. Kyle Williams was there. Yeah, man, this is tough. This is tough, y'all. I'm gonna grab Kareem Hunt here to round out my running back room. Yeah, I'm gonna grab Kareem Hunt. Proved to be a valuable guy last year. I'm gonna grab him there, and then I am gonna go with another one of my sneaky breakout guys, Adonai Mitchell, a wide receiver to round out my wide receiver room. And then on defense, we are gonna grab. It looks like the Eagles were already taken. Let's go with the Buffalo Bills. They always have a tough defense. Yeah, let's go with Buffalo. And then we're gonna round it out with a kicker. We've got let's just go Chris Boswell. He was a really good guy a really good guy to have last year. So man, there's some other guys there too. I'm gonna go Chris Boswell though to round things out here. So this probably I would say isn't my favorite team I've drafted this year, but it's definitely not my least favorite. It's a little thin at wide receiver, but I mean, we are holding it down strong at running back, strong at quarterback. I feel like strong at tight end. Like, we have a lot of depth, a lot of potential for breakouts. So I really like this team as a high upside team this year. I had some fun drafting it with you guys, but I am going to wrap it up here. Thank you guys for tuning in. As always, stay blessed. Praying for you guys. And thank you for tuning in again. Go check out the links in the description to my Instagram page and my Patreon page. You're not going to want to miss the content that goes on over there, almost or like pretty much daily, multiple times a day. And yeah, go check it out. I promise you're not going to want to miss it. And come back next Thursday. We're going to be live again. And hopefully we can do some underdog drafts. But as for tonight, we are wrapped up. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you all next Thursday. Stay tuned. We'll see you then.